important. And I was always interested in working because there is the information that we need if we have some problems. We try to figure out what's happening. So my name is Miro, and I work with Python, and actually I do exactly this, running Zappa on Lambda, and the things that we saw here. And I was curious always why the term is work. And turns out that it's really a long story. From the sailors, they did the same thing. They write down everything that is important for the ship and where they are, and their works look like this. And you can see everything. Yeah, but there is the information about where you are, what is your speed, and everything that is important. And we have the same thing in every language, in every framework, so we can write down the important things, and most probably we are doing it like this. And it's not the way to do it. It works, but it's better not. And as we saw, we have working in Java, in Python, in every language, and it's better for a few reasons. And we can write down important events that are different in terms of what they represent. Maybe they're just something that we would like to figure out what's going on, and we are using it just for debugging. Or maybe we are writing some information that tells us that everything is fine, the software is working, but it's not always the case. Sometimes we need to write down something that is telling us that there is a problem, the software is still working, but maybe we run out of space or something, which doesn't stop our software, but it's a warning. And sometimes it's just an error. And when this happens, we would like to know. This is not something that will stop the entire software, but it's an error in the current flow that we have, something like this. But sometimes it just doesn't work. It doesn't start or it stops. And this is something that we cannot achieve with simple prints easily. And the other very useful things about logging is that we can choose for different messages where to go. Maybe we would like our debug information to go on the console, just info that we would like is good to be in the console, but also we would like it to be in a log file so we can make sense of it somehow. And same with the warnings, but also maybe we would like to send an email with the warning and not just to keep it in a log file so someone can take actions about it. And the other useful things with logging, and it's for all of the languages and frameworks, is that having our handlers, they're also transport in JavaScript, I think. We can choose on which environment what we would like to see. On the dev, I would like to see everything in the console. On staging, I don't need debug messages, and all of the rest I would like to have in a log file. And there is no need to change our code when we go to staging. The same code will write some of the logs and some of them will not. And on production, maybe we don't care about debug information. All of the infos we would like to have in a log file, and the warnings, not only the log, but sending an email to someone to take actions. And I would like to show you a real example of a warning message. This is in the tube in London. It says that there is a warning. There is a goose on a platform 2 that is violent. So we have the message, it's a warning, obvious, and we have our handlers. It's some for the post, I don't know. But if we have the same message and we would like to have it on a console, we will skip the picture most probably, and we will use a simple sentence. So this is another thing of the logging framework, that we can choose not only what to send to the logs, where to send it, but also how to format it. And it will work without changing the code every time. We just configure it. And when we have this in a log file, maybe we can use some JSON in a different structure, so we can do something with it, abstract it or aggregate it, whatever we want to do it. And in the email, maybe we will send the goose as a picture, not the actual goose. So those are the three tools that we have in a logging, but those are just tools. To make them useful and the information to be something that we can act on, we should include important information in our messages. And those are when the thing happened, where, and of course what actually happens. And when is about time, let's see that we have again those lambdas, because we have a very successful project and we have many instances of the Lambda service. As you saw, it's easily achievable. And then we have these two to analyze our logs. But the Lambda functions are all over the world, so maybe they're in a different time zones. So be sure that in the when part, you include the time zone, because sometimes you're looking at a different time frame and looking for a problem that is not there at all. The when part gives us also the ability to see if everything is in the right sequence, that no event is missing, and also that every event took a certain amount of time, and we can easily spot that something is too fast or it's too slow. Sometimes too fast is a problem also. It could mean that you have no data at all. And the other thing is that you can see amount of the events that are happening in a given period of time. You can see what are the most used time on the day or something like this. And the where part, we can look at it in different ways. Where could be that this event happens in the application or in the backend or maybe in the database. So we should know where the event happens, but also we can think of where, like in which file, in which class, or from which logger this message comes. And this is enough for me to know where this is happening. So this is the different way to see where. And of course, what. And again, what could be in terms of the business logic. Someone just logged in or something happens in terms of the business. But also, it could be on a lower level. We have a database transaction that fails, or something else that is in the way the code is working. And also it could be a message that says that there is a change in the infrastructure, good or bad. And for all of this, we need a good context. If we just write login without any additional information, it's not very useful. So if we have an email that is sent, this is the event. Maybe we would like to have the subject in the log file, to whom it was sent, and maybe the user ID that is part of the HTTP request that triggered this email. And the same with the different events. And what we can do is to collect all the messages that are related to this user ID so we can figure out how the things are working, what is connected. And usually what we are trying to do is to answer the question why, especially when there is a problem. Why the account is locked, or why the disk is why we have this error, because it's not always obvious, and yeah, we expect some files or directory to exist, but we're trying to figure out why it didn't. That's why we need a context. And I'll try to show you an example of how actually the works can help. We did have an integrator that is using our API, and he's following the instructions, but what he gets is he's trying to get some object, and he gets 404, and the next step is to try to create one, but then you have an error that says that actually the object is there, and he's trying to get it again, and now he gets it, which is okay, but what actually has happened? And what we have in our logs is a lot of data. We have when, and you can see this Z at the end, that is in UTC. And also we have where in a different ways. We have where exactly in the code. I know where this logger is, and I know which node is this. And also we have what actually happens, and what was the response, what was the method, etc. Everything that we need. And we have a lot of context. We know which was the user, what was the request ID, what we get from the post, and also what was the response. Having this, we collect all the information and start to filtering by the time that we solve those problems, by the users that are making the requests, everything that we need to figure out what is happening. And we get just a fraction of this. And this tells us more, but not enough. Now we know that everything starts with 404, but then we have 201, which means the object was created. And this is something that our integrator didn't tell us. And the rest is what he saw. And the reason for this, we find out by taking all of the data and try to figure it out how it happens in time. And the first one is the 404, and the next one is what we didn't know that happens, is the creation of the object, and we get this information from the logs. And what we know now is that the second get attempt was before the first post was ended. That's why we get this error. And the next one is the actual error on the second post, because this one is already done and the object is there. And we were able to figure out this only because we have all the logs with all the context and everything that shows us the whole story, actually. So keep your logs with all the information that you need. Maybe it's too much sometime, but you'll be grateful after that. Thank you.
Perfect time. Questions? There's one over there.
Hello, my name is Egza. I am a native iOS developer, and I have built a logger for mobile apps, and I really like how insightful it is. And I was going to make some questions also for Python, because I don't I'm not really familiar with it. First, it is a service that you have built or it is native. And second thing is, does it support privacy of the data when you do logging? And do you connect it with the QA team? So when creating tickets, you connect it and you have more data when you try to resolve any of the issues? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's start with the last question first, because maybe this is the only one that I got. Yes, sometimes we do have parts of the logs. Okay, let's go back. We have parts of the logs in the tickets. When someone said there is a problem, we find out this period of time that the problem was reported, and we put it in Jira, for example. So the next person that will deal with it have some context. About the privacy, when we create your handlers that will send the information, usually you can send it to a third-party service, so the access is on their side to have users for Sentry, for example, and things like this. And about if this is something that we built, it's part of Python. The whole logger thing is part of Python. And there is another reason to use it and not to use print, for example, is because it's faster. It just, you say, I need this to be logged, and maybe it will not happen immediately, but it will not block your thread.
There's one more. Microphone is coming.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to ask for when you're building applications, I know that a lot of operating system allow you to basically export them out to the application and the ACD output and the standard error. When is it okay to have logging? When is it okay to log things in the standard output of the application, and when you should consider logging it to the standard error of the application?
By default, at least in Python, everything goes in standard error.
Okay, so this is going to be yeah, I know. The other person should ask 3 questions.
Okay, is there something that I will get?
So microphone over there. Yeah.
I can hear you. Maybe it's still not.
Is it on?
No.
Doesn't seem to be working. Can we have another one?
Thank you. I want to know for what period of time it's okay to keep the logging files.
Okay.
What is the preferred time?
Yeah. I don't know, but it depends on the case, because sometimes you are obliged to keep the logs for 5 years, for example, just because someone may need this information and the law insists that you will keep it for 5 years or so. Sometimes if the problem occurs 2 months ago, maybe no one will care now. So it depends on the case.
Thank you.
Oh, data scientists, we would like to have them for tens of years.
Okay, any more questions?
Maybe. No? Okay.
Okay. All right, so I don't think anyone else? No? We're good? Okay. Oh, there's one more. Matt, how do you do this? Tell us the secret.
Thank you, Miro, for the insights. I have one more personal question. Do you like reading logs?
Yes, indeed.
Great, thanks.